Okay, cool. So the first thing that I'd like to go over is underwriting your deals. So who brought a deal that they need help with or need help underwriting? Darren, what's up, dude?
Uh, I sent you the screenshot. He finally sent me the loan balance after fighting him for I don't know why he was being so stingy about giving me the loan balance, but
Well,
here
you gotta remember they don't know you.
I know, but like he presented me the offer and he wanted me to take it, and I was like, yeah, I got to run the numbers first to see if this, if we can do this, and I don't know, something like 3 paragraphs, but we finally got it.
Okay, so it's 645,000.
Yes, sir.
Did he give you the PITI?
Yeah, 4080.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yep, that's a mortgage payment, is what that is. All right, cool. Well, let's underwrite the deal. So this is a hybrid, right?
Uh, yeah.
What did you offer them per deal sniper? The
I
purchase
ain't,
price.
I ain't offered them. Well, I first offered them 850.
Okay. And did they counter?
They countered with 770 because that's what it's listed for.
Okay. So and the mortgage balance is 645.
Yeah.
All right. So then let me see something. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to see if this will work for a subject too. So 770 minus $645,000 is a difference of $125,000. So the most that we'd be able to give them is a $70,000 down payment, and then there'd still be $55,000 left over. So yeah, this is going to be a hybrid. Does anyone not understand what I just did?
You calculate the seller finance amount, right?
No. What I did was I calculated if this was going to be a hybrid or a subject to.
Oh, I thought you just choose which one you want. I didn't know you had to calculate.
No, the deal is either or. You don't
Oh,
get to pick. It's based off the numbers. So here's how you break that down. What I did was I took the purchase price, 770,000, and I subtracted the mortgage balance. That's a difference of $125,000, right? Everybody
mhm.
with me?
Yeah.
Now, the most that we can give anyone on a down payment is how much? 10% of the purchase price. So 10% of 770,000 is $77,000. We owe them $125,000. That's the difference. So because the the difference of what is between their holy shit. Let me start over. The difference between their selling price and their mortgage balance, if that's more than the 10% down payment that we can give them, then it's a hybrid deal. If it's close to that 10%, let's say instead of the most we can give them is 77,000 and the difference between their listing price and the mortgage balance was $90,000. Okay, I would actually talk to them and see if I can negotiate just a subject to because
Okay.
because we're so close. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Before you get into like the hybrid,
Wait for a second.
usually pitch?
What's up?
How do you usually pitch like sub two? Because like I know sub two, you give them cash for their spot in the mortgage, yeah. But like, let's say the house is worth 500,000, and you pitch sub two. Why would somebody that has like a loan of 240 go for 50,000 just cash so they can get out of the mortgage payment?
They usually wouldn't. There's only a couple circumstances where they would. If it's a life situation where they lost their job and they can't pay their mortgage payment anymore,
Uh,
they might do it. But the example that you just gave with that gap, there's no chance that anyone would.
okay.
That's just the gap that you gave. They could just sell their house for at a discount and still walk away with a bunch of equity if they were in a bad spot and needed some money and we're going to sell their house to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're in
So
that situation.
object, yeah, if it's a situation where it's not pre-foreclosure, and they have a lot of equity, it's probably going to be a hybrid deal. Because just like you just said, why would anyone walk away from all their equity and do a sub two? Well, the answer is they wouldn't. They would just they would ask for a hybrid unless they don't know that exists. Then you'd have to educate them and then let them know, hey, we could do this too. So you still get your equity, you're just getting it over time instead of at closing.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So now that we've identified that this is going to be a subject to, now let's or a hybrid. Let's run the numbers. So 770,000 is the amount. You said that the 645 for the mortgage balance. I think you said this was 4,080, right?
Yeah.
And then this was 6.4. And then what did you negotiate as a down payment?
They want 110, but he said he's lenient, like they're negotiable. So let's just do 70. That's 10% of the purchase price, or like 60. Yeah, 60.
It's like you heard it in my voice. The cringe at 70. Well, no, that's okay. All right, so then 65,000 would be left. Yeah. And then they're getting 60,000. What's the rent?
Oh yeah, that leads me to because usually houses like this expensive, long term is not that like good. It's usually good for short term, and it's also in Florida. So,
Did you run the short-term numbers?
I don't know how to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show you how to run the short-term numbers right now. You're going to have to run them in the background though, because I don't want to put your address on the screen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's follow your logic. Let's pick a big one. Come on, give me $1 million property. Give me 2 million. Something crazy. All right. Oh, here we go. 1.6. I'll take one. Where the hell is this? Oh, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, fair enough.
That's
So what I'm going to do.
Oh,
Yeah, well, it's a nice house. I like. Oh, that tub is badass though. This is why I like comping houses. If anyone ever needs comps, if I'm not busy, I like to do them because I like looking at the way people redo their houses. It gives me ideas.
Yeah,
so here's what you do. You go to AirDNA. AirDNA is free. So you just log in like you would anything else.
Okay.
Okay. Google or, whatever account you want to use. So once you're there, let me go back. Okay. So once you're there, you're on this screen. Then all you're going to do is paste the address. Make sure you got it in there. I didn't check to see the bedrooms and bathrooms. 6 bed, 5 bath. Okay. So you want to put that in. 6 bed, 5 bath. Now, when it comes to accommodates, all you do is take the amount of bedrooms and double it, because theoretically you can sleep 2 to a bedroom. So if it's got 6 bedrooms, it can hold 12 people. And then you hit calculate potential earnings. It's going to show you a bunch of stuff. It's going to say, hey, do you want to sign up for this to get this information? No, you don't need any of that. The only thing you need is that number right there. You take that number and you divide it by 12. $132,000 divided by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, is $11,000 a month. Okay. So now you take the $11,000 a month, and that becomes your short-term rental number. What's the long-term rental?
Okay, so
wait, hold on. Before you do that, does anyone need me to go over that again? I know that was kind of quick. I have no problem repeating myself. I know how fast I talk. I have no illusions about it. Okay. Anyone needs me to go back, just let me know. What's the long-term rental? I know you said it's not going to work, but I just want to see it.
The long-term is 3,340.
Yeah, that definitely wouldn't have worked.
And what's the name there? That's probably why he didn't want me to know. And the short term is 2.5.
2.5 what?
6.
Wait, what's 2.5?
Like, because you said take 30,000. Well, that's what I got, 30,000, and then divided by 12. Then I got 2.5.
Yours is 25. Wait, no, hold on. What number did it give you as the yearly rent? Hold on. This number here. What is your number right here? Projected revenue.
30,000.
Okay, so you took 30,000 and you divided that by 12.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 2,500.
Yeah.
Okay, where'd you get 2.5?
Oh, I was just saying like 2.5, like thousand.
Oh, you were giving it to me the same way they were breaking this down.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. All right, my bad. All right, so this is 2,500 You know the deal's not going to work, right?
Oh yeah. I know.
Okay. All right. So if I go to hybrid, and then this is 4,080. Now, without me putting any expenses in, I mean, you can already see you're at a negative cash on cash return. This deal doesn't
So
work.
this house is the only way you could buy this house is cash.
Yeah. I mean, you could buy this house if you wanted to live in this house and pay a 4,000. Well, it wouldn't be because yeah, remember we still have to pay the seller finance amount to pay the $65,000 off. Even if we went super low at $200 a month, now our cash on cash return is negative 21,000. But if you could find someone who wanted to live in the property and was okay taking over a mortgage payment of basically $4,300, then yeah, you could sell it. It's just a little unlikely.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I would move on if I were you. It doesn't
Yeah,
have a good exit strategy. How many bedrooms is it?
3 bed, 3 bath.
What city?
It's in Orlando.
Mm, 3 bed, 3 bath. Is it shaped like a house?
Yeah, it's shaped like it's 2 stories.
Like a traditional house, though, just like a peaked roofs and everything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would move on.
What do you mean? Like, let's say if I said it's not shaped
You know
like
what? You know what a barn roof looks like?
oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just shaped like that, right?
Nah, it's not shaped. It's just shaped like a regular house.
Okay, then yeah, I just move on.
Yeah, and my last question was I was on the phone with a realtor. She said she wanted to move forward and all that, but the way her brokerage work is you need to submit, EMD 24 hours after you sign the contract. And I just don't got $1,000 sitting around.
No,
So
no.
she was like,
Does she know that you're wholesaling with you?
yeah, she knows. She was like, okay, you know what? How about you just talk to your buyer and then, before we even get this. But then I was like, it's a business at the end of the day, he can just go through me and just to you and cut
Yeah,
me out. And then she
exactly.
was like,
That's why we don't do that.
oh no, but we can protect your deal. And I was like, that just don't make sense. And then I said, I'm gonna talk to my supposed buyers and see if they would like to do that. I'm probably not gonna message her back, but is there something I can say? Or like, is that possible? Be like,
No,
hey,
your thinking is exactly right. I would never give out the address to a potential deal that I'm working unless it's under contract, because there's nothing stopping anyone that hears that address or anything else about the property from just going directly to the source and going behind you to snake the deal.
it's a beautiful house too. It's like it's
How long has it been on market?
2 days.
Well, why are you going after a property that's been on market for 2 days?
Yeah, I was kind of bored today, so I was just outside and I started to make a couple phone calls.
Like, I'm gonna make this shit. I'm gonna make this shit difficult.
Yeah, but
All right,
like,
that's all
is
right.
it,
I mean, it's good you're talking to a realtor. They're interested in it, but yeah, you got to let them know. Unfortunately, that's just not the way that we do it. We'd love to move forward, but we need EMD to be due on or before the end of the inspection period. Period.
ooh, I didn't say that. I didn't say, oh, okay, because I was saying EMD is due once we find a buyer. So like, oh, but what if we wait a week and then you can't find nobody? I was like,
Well,
it's still market.
we're asking her to wait 3 weeks. A 14 business day inspection period ends up to be about 3 weeks.
Yeah, right. But for this house, I feel like a buyer gonna get at it immediately. Rent or short term rent is going for like 6,600.
I mean, you
And
could try and talk to her, and the minimum we can probably get away with is this: tell her, say, look, give me 7 days. Give me 7 days to find a buyer. If I find a buyer, great. The house is sold. Everybody gets paid. If not, the contract just expires and I go away.
okay.
Tell her that.
But like she said her bot like the what's the name? Her brokerage, like you guys submit EMD once you sign the contract 24 hours later. I can't find a buyer that fast.
Well, then, yeah. Then
Uh,
if she doesn't have a solution for that, then yeah, you just got to move on because there's no way you're going to find a buyer that fast. You can try and reverse wholesaling it and hope you don't get snaked, but it's 50-50.
damn.
The only thing you got to worry about in an apocalypse is another person, not the apocalypse. People are shisty.
Well, do you know like because the house is expensive. like I said, I was bored today, so but the
Yeah,
house is like 800,000, 900. So
that's all right, man. Go for it. Just so everyone's clear, just so we're and I'm not. I've told you this already, so I'm not talking to you. The higher the purchase price does not mean the more assignment fee. You guys want to know what makes you the most on your assignment fee? A lower down payment. If DealSniper tells you give them 13,000 and you negotiate to give them 8, that difference it goes on your assignment fee automatically. It's not a higher purchase price that gets you a bigger assignment fee. It's a lower down payment to the seller. Now, granted, that is harder to do with on-market properties, but that's how you get a higher assignment fee.
you know that.
Most people don't think about it that way, especially if they're coming from cash. They
I was
think,
thinking
oh,
about
bigger purchase price, bigger check. Nope. Sometimes it's quite the opposite, because when you're dealing with people who can afford 800,000 to $1 million properties, chances are they're good with money, or they work with people who are good with money, and they're going to stonewall you and make it difficult for you every time. They won't let you make hardly anything because they know the game. They know what you're making or what your potential is, so they can make the numbers work in their seller's favor or in their own favor if they're the owner. Not saying that we're trying to screw people over who aren't good with money. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people who have a lot of money to have properties of that purchase price, chances are they know how to negotiate some stuff. You know what I mean? You're probably not going to talk them into a lower down payment. They know what money is worth and how to make it move. That was my point. Does that answer your question about this deal? I wouldn't move forward with this deal.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't got no more questions. I'm gonna listen and play my game.
All right, cool. All right, who else has a deal that they'd like to go over? Brandon, what's up, dude? Okay, no more deals, no underwriting, no nothing. All right, so then I'm going to move on to a different exit strategy, which is a wrap. So is there anyone 100% unfamiliar with what a wrap is, so I know where to start?
Yeah, start at the beginning, please.
Start at
I
the
do it.
beginning of the wrap. Oh, what's up,
Yeah,
Leslie? I didn't even know you were in here, dude.
I am. I miss this for the world, man.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we'll start at the beginning. So here's basically what a wrap is. Okay. All a wrap is we're taking it's in the name. And this only applies when they have a mortgage, by the way. If we're going creative, this whole wrap thing only applies if there's already a mortgage in place. All we're doing is taking our terms or the seller's terms, depending on your position on talking to the deal, and wrapping it around the existing terms. Okay. So here's an example that I know it's like, well, okay, well, you didn't tell me anything. I'm going to give you an example to make sense. Okay. So let's say currently there's a loan in place on a property that has $100,000 mortgage. Okay. They owe $100,000 and their monthly payment is $1,000. That's their principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So if we wanted to wrap it, then that seller can say to us, okay, you want to do a creative deal? I don't want to do a subject to, I want to do a wrap. That means that I still make the monthly payment. There is no, it's going to go through escrow. You guys are going to pay me. I'm going to make the monthly payment and I'm going to keep the difference. So right now, my loan balance is $100,000. I'll sell you this house for $130,000. My loan interest rate currently is at 4%. I'm going to charge you 7%. So my current monthly payment is $1,000. I'm going to charge you $1,200. I'm going to take that $1,200. This is the seller now. It's going to take that $1,200, pay their $1,000 mortgage, and keep the $200 difference. That's a wrap. That's the only difference between a subject to and a wrap is we hook up the buyer's bank account to the seller's mortgage account so that the payment can be drafted directly from the buyer to the seller. In this situation, all the money is just going directly to the seller, and they're going to make the mortgage payment on behalf of everyone. Darren, what's up?
The deal you just underwrote was the loan wrap I was talking about. So is it still off, or like if it was a loan wrap, does it work? Or
Oh no, your numbers still don't work at all.
ah,
No, yeah, the numbers still don't work.
ah.
Because here's the thing with the wrap, it's just cash flow. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. Investors are a little sketchy around wrap deals. And here's why. What happens if, Darren, I'm going to use you since I know your mic is working. What happens, let's say you're the seller, I'm the investor, Amber's the wholesaler. So Amber sold me this deal, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do it. I'm sending you $1,200 a month, and then I get a notice in the mail at the property because technically it's my property, it's in my name. I get a notice on my door saying the house is being foreclosed, and then come to find out you never made the mortgage payment. You were just pocketing the whole $1,200. That's why buyers don't really like wraps, because they're paying on a property, they're fixing up a property, they're doing whatever they want, adding it to their portfolio. They're cash flowing, thinking that the mortgage payment's being paid, and it's not. So be careful when you're trying to close wraps. It makes the seller happy. It gives the seller more of a peace of mind, because now, hey, you don't have to rely on anyone paying the mortgage payment for you. We'll just pay you and you make the mortgage payment. You don't get the money from us. You make the mortgage payment yourself, and then you get the house back with the deed in lieu. Done. It makes them more comfortable, but it makes buyers very uncomfortable.
So the deed in lieu doesn't, because the property gets deeded back. So why would it even because it makes sure the payments are getting there, right?
No, there's no. The deed in lieu only goes one way. The deed in lieu is protection for the seller, not the buyer. So if you, as the seller, the one who's supposed to be paying the mortgage, it's like having a roommate who's supposed to pay the rent for you, and then you come to find out at the end of the month they never paid it. That's what it's like. Your name's on the lease, you own it, so now you're getting kicked out. It's the same situation with a wrap. If the buyer or the seller, for whatever reason, doesn't make that mortgage payment, the buyer loses their asset. There's nothing they can do about it, because here's another set of terminology that you guys are going to need to know. First and second position mortgage. What does that mean? So in a situation where we're doing a wrap, there's a first position and a second position for the mortgage. And all that means is if shit, sorry, mom, hits the fan with money or with the owners of this property, who gets paid first? And it's always going to be the mortgage company, because they were first. And then second position goes to the seller, or the wrapped terms. So if for whatever reason the seller doesn't make that mortgage payment every single month, and the buyer gets a foreclosure notice on the door, there's nothing they can do about it, because the mortgage company is in first position, meaning if money is not available, they're the first ones who gets paid. And the way to get paid when someone isn't making the payment on the property is to take the property. And that's exactly what the bank does. They take the property, and there's nothing the investor can do about it. They can try and fight it, but they're going to lose. So not only did they lose the down payment, any monthly payments they were making, all that's gone, but then on top of that, they lost the house too. That's why buyers don't like wrap deals that much. Does anyone have a question about a wrap deal or what I just explained? And no, I'm not talking about NWA. Dang, nobody even knows what that is. God, I'm old. All right, whatever. Does anybody have any questions? No, that was it. Everybody got it. Everyone understands what a wrap deal is and how it works and how to sell it and what can happen and all that stuff. Okay. Cool. We're going to move on. Leslie, did you have a question?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. So the final part of the training, I feel like this one's just zipping by. Final part of the training is open Q&A. So is there anyone that has a question about anything wholesale related that we didn't go over? Kent, what's up? That was fast.
What's up, man? So
Not much. What can I do for you?
my question is based on just trying to understand how offering 0% interest on a seller finance, giving them way more than what like the market value is for that property.
Mhm.
How like that doesn't affect like maybe other circumstances like the property tax or like the what do you call it? Like the appraisal or something of the houses around the house. Would there be any issues by doing that, or like maybe someone paying property taxes and insurance? Does that make sense at all? Like
No,
paying-
I'm a little confused. I'm trying to follow you. It sounds like what you're asking is, does us offering more than what it's listed for or the market value affect the rest of that neighborhood's market value? Is that what you're asking?
yeah, something like that. I mean,
It can, but it's only going to help the neighborhood because we're
Right.
offering more than what they're asking. And you got to remember, we're not doing 0% interest. So it's 0% interest on the monthly payment. But DealSniper is calculating how much money they would have made had we given them an average interest rate. And then it's just adding it to the purchase price.
right.
That's all it's doing. So the monthly payment, yeah, that's at 0% interest. But they're still getting the money. They're just getting it on the purchase price. And then they're getting paid over time, assuming they agree to have a creative deal. So I'm still trying to follow your question.
Well, hold on. Let me think of how to like word this, I guess.
Okay. Well, you want to think about it and then I'll come back to you?
Sure.
Okay. That works. Just let me know when you're ready.
Will do.
Cool.
Thanks.
No worries. Matthew, what's up?
When we're doing when we find deals that are off market, like in my case from some of my cold callers, and they're open to seller finance, I mean, is the number that we're presenting them something more that we're going to negotiate? I mean, in my case, the seller has given like, what they would be open to,
Right.
but what if they weren't? Do we still run the numbers in DealSniper, or is that more of a conversation with the seller about like a starting point on an offer price, purchase price with creative?
Okay. So this answer is going to be a little long-winded. I promise if you hang in there, it'll tie back around.
Okay.
The whole point of DealSniper, getting into real estate wholesaling is either really easy and very expensive, or really hard and really cheap. There's no middle ground, really. You can either, what do you have? You have driving for dollars, that's gas and time, and you have to be in a good area for wholesaling. Then you have getting a VA. You can skip trace your own leads. You can get PPCs. That's all expensive. So DealSniper is made for people to get in, learn how everything works, and then apply it when they go to scale, like you're doing with getting VAs, right? So with that being said, use DealSniper to learn. It's like chess. You learn how the pieces move, and then the strategy, it just comes because you know how the pieces work. It's the same thing here. So if you have an off-market property that you got through a VA, DealSniper is teaching you that, yes, you can offer more than what they're asking, but you don't have to.
Right.
And that's because it's off-market. You can, if they're asking for some, well, fine. If you're going to have me do, owner financing, then I want an extra $20,000 on the purchase price. DealSniper has already taught you, okay, no hesitation. You can do that.
Right.
But you don't have to. The incentive for the higher purchase price is because it's on market.
Correct.
And we're calculating the interest and giving that to them. So if you really look at the deal, other than having to wait over time to get their money, which a lot of people don't want to do that, but other than that, there's no real bad thing about any offer that we give to people if they actually look at the offer. If they actually break it down, again, other than waiting, because they are going to have to wait. So we're teaching you guys all these strategies so that you can have them in your tool belt when you go and scale like off market. So yeah, to answer your question, you negotiate that with the seller directly, how much they want, and then ask them, here, I'll give you a good example. I'll tell you exactly what I tell my team to say. Let's say they ask for $200,000. That's how much they want. That's their asking price. And you talk to them during the first appointment and you're like, hey, are you open to a creative offer? You know, yada, 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 however you want to do it. So you're on your closing call now. You do your little opener, you build your rapport, you anchor them back to that number and the conversation that you had with them before. And you say, okay, here's the thing. Matthew, I know you were looking for a $200,000 purchase price. You're willing to do or consider creative financing. I appreciate that. So here's what I'm thinking. Either me or my investors are going to hold this property. We're not going to sell it. So we really don't care too much about the purchase price. So because you're willing to consider creative financing, I'll give you a $210,000 purchase price. That extra $10,000, I'll give you cash in your pocket at closing, and then we can get you all paid off in about 10 years. And then on top of that, we'll give you, call it $550 a month in positive cash flow. I'll take care of the taxes. I'll take care of the insurance. I'll take care of the maintenance. You just get your money. Can you make that work? So because I know that I can offer more money on a creative deal, now I'm using it for a different reason. The strategy is different. I know how the piece moves. The moving piece is that I can give them more money than what they're asking. The strategy behind it, because it's off market, is now it's an incentive. Hey, now it's a gratitude thing. Especially if you say it like that. Hey, because you're willing to consider this for me and I appreciate it, I'm going to give you $10,000 more. And on top of that, I'm going to give that to you at closing. So what did I just say? I'm going to give you a $210,000 purchase price, and I'm going to give you a 10% down payment or a 5% down payment. But I said it in a way that's much better than just I'm going to give you 5%.
But if they're off market and you plug them in DealSniper, are those numbers still,
accurate?
Yeah,
everything will be accurate with the exception of the purchase price that it gives you, because when DealSniper is looking for or scrubbing these numbers, it's looking for the listing price. Because there is no listing price, it'll probably just base the purchase price off of the Zestimate.
Okay.
So you'll have to alter the purchase price. But here's the great thing about DealSniper. If I change the purchase price, it'll change all the rest of the numbers for me.
Right.
But if you're talking about the estimated rent, the taxes, and the insurance, yes, that'll be accurate whether it's off or on market.
Okay, great. And then
I know, right? It's an awesome tool.
Yeah, it really is. I'm getting familiar with it. But my last question is, if we do have to insert a balloon into these contracts, does that scare off investors, or are they used to that language and buying properties with 7-year balloons?
Okay, so you want another long-winded answer, or you want the short version?
Up to you.
All right, I'll do both. So here's the thing. Investors like deals with they like creative deals from wholesalers. Why? Because it looks different and much better than if they went to the bank. If they go to the bank, what do they have to do? Put down at least 20%. What else do they get? A shitty interest rate. Sorry, mom. Right? So a high or a higher interest rate means what? A higher monthly payment, which means less cash flow. So when they buy deals from us, we're giving them deals. One, it's a very low entry fee. It's not 20% down, or if it is, that 20% is including everything, even closing costs. Which is not the case if they go to a bank. They'll have to give 20% to the bank and then pay closing costs separately. So that's why I tell you guys on your entry fee percentage, don't go higher than 20%. Now that's still very high. Damn, learn how to draw a circle. That's still very high, 20%, but your saving grace is but that's including everything, Mr. Investor, Mrs. Investor. Everything's included, even your closing costs. And then on top of that, we have very low or 0% interest. Low interest, low monthly payment, higher cash flow. So what happens when there's a balloon? 9 times out of 10, that investor is going to have to refinance the property, get some cash out so they can pay off the seller. Well, when they refinance, what do they get? An interest rate and a higher monthly payment.
Right.
So as long as your balloon, here's the short version of the answer. As long as your balloon fits the purchase price, you're good. So here, what do I mean by that? If it's a $50,000 purchase price or less, you're good with a 1 to 3 year balloon, 1 to 5. If it's $50,000 to $100,000, 3 to 5 year balloon, you're good. 150,000 to about 350,000, 7 to 10 year balloon.
For the entry fee, you're saying?
No, for the balloon.
Yeah, but
The balloon doesn't affect the entry fee.
yeah, no, I
Or-
know. You said the year. You said if the entry fee is only 50,000,
No, the purchase price, the total
Purchase
purchase price,
price.
not the entry fee.
Gotcha.
So if the purchase price is 150
400,000.
to 350,000, you're going to do 7 to 10 year balloon. If it's 350,000 all the way up to, call it 859, a little less than $1 million, you're a 12 to 15 year balloon. Anything past that, you probably shouldn't be doing, but if you're doing it, it's going to be at least a 20 year balloon.
Is there a video or you have a little chart on that anywhere, or is that just off your head?
I'm 99% sure that's in the quick question sheet, but let me check. Because if it's not, I can add it. You're like the fourth person to ask me that today. So I can't imagine that it's not in there, but let's check. Wrong page. Does that answer all your questions other than, is that in the sheet?
Yes, thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, whoever just raised their hand, I wasn't looking at the screen. Give me 1 second. There it is. Okay, so realtor objections, deal structuring, investor, deed in lieu, POF. Rehab, markets, seller objections. Nope, it is not on here, but it will be added by tonight and it'll be up by tomorrow morning.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
No problem. I'll do both. I'll do a video. I'll tag the video here and then I'll add it to this as well.
Hey, Sean, I don't
Yeah.
have that cheat sheet. Can you send me a link to it?
Yeah. I'll DM it to you as soon as we hang up or
All right.
get off this call. Okay. VG, what's going on? Oh, I can't hear you, but you're not muted. Is my mic messed up? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Oh, there she is. What's up?
Okay. Hi. So I was looking at a property on Redfin. It's
Mhm.
active on Redfin, but not on Zillow.
Okay.
So I noticed DealSniper only pulls data from Zillow and not Redfin.
Oh, no, it'll pull data from a bunch of different places. We just like
Okay.
the word Zestimate better and the setup for
Okay.
Zillow a little bit better. So that's why we modeled it off of there. But it should pull the information from Redfin also. And
Okay.
Realtor and Trulia and anything else that's up there.
Okay. So I would still like to, update the numbers based on what it says on Redfin, because obviously that's where it's active.
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I come up with the purchase price? I know it's more than the listed price, but how do I come up with it without the help of DealSniper?
Well, you don't have to. Oh, you're asking how to figure out how much more you add to it.
Right, exactly.
Give me what is it listed for right now?
Okay. So it's listed for 349,500. 349,500 in Redfin.
Oops. All right, I'm just going to do 350,000.
Okay.
Just for easy numbers.
Mhm.
That is not right. Okay, and then let's just say we probably would have said somewhere around 20,000 down, give or take. I'm trying to think like a computer now. And then I'll do 330,000 seller finance, 0% interest.
Yeah, it did 25,000 as down payment.
Oh, it did 25,000?
Yeah.
Let's change this to 25. Okay, and then so 1 second, I have to use my other calculator now. All right, so if we were to do, I think they're doing +1. No, probably not. Okay, so 2135 minus 2, 1233 times what? 120? No, we probably. What's the purchase price? He says 350, so that'd be
Yeah.
35. So then it would only be 60. So for this one, I'm 99% sure DealSniper would have come up with like a 385,000. Again, I'm rounding. It would have come up with the exact number, but about a $385,000 purchase price is what it would have come up with. It would have kept the
Okay.
same down payment, and then it would have done $355,000.
Okay. So what you
Nope, that's not right.
just did,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what you just did. So you basically, the way we explained to the realtors about why 0%, right? Because you're saying, oh, we add, we consider the interest, and that's why that's how we come up with the higher purchase price.
Correct.
So that's exactly what you did backwards, right? So you
Pretty
basically
much.
figured out, what's
So
the
I
amount?
figured out the difference between 0% interest, and then I probably went a little high on the interest rate because I can't remember when we first designed this thing, if what interest rate threshold we built in. I don't think it was market. I think it's what we would pay, and I think what we would go is max of 4 to 5%. So
Okay.
it's basing it off of that. So what it should have actually done is that, and I just did quick numbers. So then it would have been $900 times whatever I figured the balloon in that many months that we would have ended up paying it off, and then that'll give me a rough estimate of how much extra money to add to the purchase price. And it's usually going to always be between $25,000 and $35,000, give or take.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll be like 17, sometimes it'll be like 29, but it'll always be usually in that threshold.
Okay. Yeah, and you meant 1900, right? Not 900.
What did I?
Just to,
No, yeah, the difference between, so I put in 5% interest. If I take the 5% away, it should go to $1,000. So the
Right.
difference
Oh,
between
okay.
that is about
Got it.
$932.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. I understand now. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right, who else has got a question? Oh, I have questions over here. So how do you know for certain if and when the seller is actually making the mortgage payment? Does the title company? No, that's why they don't like it, because no one knows but the bank and the seller who's supposed to be making the mortgage payment. Like the buyer will find out when they get that notice on their door. That's when they usually find out. And again, there's not a whole lot they can do about it. Hi, Sean. What lowers the entry fee as you now mention a lower down payment? Okay, so let me show you that. Here's what and actually, I'll show you guys very quickly how to figure out how to do this. So if I put $150,000 purchase price, and again, you guys can change this number to whatever you want. It'll automatically calculate everything else. But if I do 150,000 and then I do a $10,000 down payment, right? Look at my estimated assignment fee. So what it's doing, if you look at the estimated assignment fee and the down payment and add those two together, what does that equal? It equals 15,000, which is 10% of that purchase price. So what happens if I can convince the seller to take a $5,000 down payment? Well, now my assignment fee is $10,000. What if I convince them to do a $2,000 down payment? Now my estimated assignment fee is $13,000, because you're still within that 10% range. So the lower your assignment fee, the higher you can the lower your down payment, the higher you can charge on your assignment fee. Does anyone not understand that part or need me to go through that again? Oh,
Sorry,
I hate that.
please
Is it
repeat.
Rachel or Rochelle? Hello?
Sorry, Sean, can you go over it one more time?
The assignment fee part or the
Yes,
question that you had
please.
asked me before?
No, assignment fee.
Yeah, sure. So if you take a look, let's put another deal in. Let's do two. Oh, I like that kitchen better. We'll do that one. That's pretty, well, that's okay. We'll do it. I was gonna say that's really close to the one we just did, but that's okay. All right, so if I go to the exit strategies, now I'm not going to clean up the numbers at all because it's not going to play a factor. Well, I mean, the down payment will, obviously, but that's okay. So it's giving us 10%. If I add that number together and that number together, it'll be 10% of the purchase price. Okay, it'll be about $23,000. So if I can convince the seller to take $10,000 as a down payment instead of 16, now I get the difference. Whatever the difference is between the down payment and your assignment, and I'm sorry, whatever the difference is between the down payment and the proposed assignment fee, if you can get the seller to take lower, you get that difference. Does that answer your question? But how
Yep.
to lower the entry fee to less than 10%? Because a lot of my entry is always approximately 12 to 13%. Well, okay, so that's different. You're talking about two different things now. So the first thing that we're talking about is how to use or kind of do quick math to figure out what you can charge on your assignment fee if you get a lower down payment. I think what you're referring to is this part here. And the reason why this part here is always going to be different is because it's calculating closing costs and DealSniper is not. So the deal machine calculator, we calculate everything. No different than if I were to put in a $3,000 realtor commission. It's calculating that too now. So now your entry fee and your entry fee percentage goes up. But if I look at this deal, I'm giving them $25,000 down. If I were to, let's say, give them $20,000 down, and this entry, hold on, let me go back so you guys can see the numbers change. So at $25,000 down, my down payment, which is the entry fee and the assignment fee for the buyer, my down payment is $35,000. And let's say this number's good, 11.62, even with the realtor commission. So now let's change it. Let's say I convince this seller to take $20,000 down. But because of that, I want $15,000 now. Watch the numbers. They don't change. It's still the same. Still the same $35,000. Because you get the difference if you want it. Now you can always talk the seller into taking a lower down payment and then keep your assignment fee the same so your deal is more attractive. You can do that. So it was 11.5%. But if I'm like, hey, you know what? I talked them down. I want this deal to move fast. So I'm not going to take that. Well, now I'm right at 10%. So the deal's more attractive. But regardless of any of that, the lower that I talk them down, let's say I talk them down to $5,000. Okay, now I want to make $35,000 or $30,000 on the deal. Well, guess what? The number's still the same. It's still the same $35,000. And the buyers, they don't know what our assignment fee is unless you tell them. And it's highly recommended that you don't do that. Because if they know how much you're making, then they can say, oh, well, now I'm not going to take the deal unless you give me $5,000 off. You're still making $5,000. Don't be greedy. That's what they'll say. I know that because I've made that mistake. So yeah, you can keep the difference if from the down payment and the assignment fee if you want to charge more, especially if you're already okay with that number. And if this number is good, then you should be good to go. Did that answer your question, Kathy and VG? Okay, cool. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right, then I will let you guys go for the night. This was a fun training. I appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you so much.
I actually have a question. I'm sorry, I was in the kitchen.
Oh, that's all right. What's up?
Hello. Okay. So I thought we were going to go over realtor objections.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that. Let's do that. That sounds like fun.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Not that
All right.
I have any specifics, but just I
Oh.
got you.
See, I thought you had specifics to go over. I work better when I have specifics to rebut. Does anyone
Okay.
have a realtor?
I can give you one.
I mean, yeah, if you got one.
Okay.
If not, I can
Okay,
ask
cool.
everybody else. I'm sure we've all got
Well,
some.
I mean, yeah, we can do that too, but I'm not going to start out in an awkward way. So, well, I guess I did anyway, but
It don't matter.
okay, so the one that I got actually, she's pretty much adamant about trying to figure out. Let me see here. Let me go back to what she said. I guess she didn't understand why. Oh, where's her messages? Like I said, I was in the kitchen, but I am here. Okay, so in the beginning when we kind of start off with just I guess like a blind offer, quote
Right.
unquote. Okay. So that kind of bit me in the butt. And I'm saying this because I had a woman who was interested.
Mhm.
And I guess I would say she was the realtor, but it was also her property.
Okay.
And she pretty much wanted to stick to the first offer that I gave her, but she had a mortgage, which kind of threw everything off. So once I, pretty much got the mortgage information, I went back, ran the numbers again. And of course, now I have a different offer that covers her issues,
Wait, but did
but
you give her a new hybrid offer or did you give her a new subject to offer?
this was I'm pretty sure it was a hybrid offer, but yeah, I'm almost certain this was hybrid.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that was the problem pretty much. She didn't understand why I couldn't stick to the initial terms of the first offer that I gave. And I guess I didn't understand enough ways of to explain it to her. So I can see both sides on that situation, but I wish I guess better understood why I couldn't, because if I understand it better, then I can explain it better, which lets me know that I don't fully understand why I can't stick to that first offer. Considering the fact that they would have a mortgage on the property. I understand it to myself, but I mean, I need it in a way that I can describe to someone else as to why we sent out that first offer first and then get the rest of the information, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. So
Okay.
just let her know if the discrepancy is why can't we do the other offer? Two things. One, you can't. It's just a wrap. It's not going to be the most pretty deal, but it's a wrap. The same one that we went over earlier.
Okay.
So for anyone who's a little confused as to what's going on, Amber, you correct me if I'm wrong. An offer was sent out on a property assuming that there was no mortgage. Come to find out there is a mortgage. We got the mortgage information, rebuilt the deal as a hybrid instead of a seller finance because there's a mortgage involved. But now the seller's saying, well, wait a minute, why can't you just give me the offer that you gave me the first time?
Exactly.
Is that correct? Okay. So to address the first concern, we send out the offer without knowing to tell her, say, hey, well, we don't dive into people's personal business. So we didn't look up to see if you had a mortgage. We just assumed that the house was paid off. Once we found out you had a mortgage, we wrote you a new offer accommodating that mortgage. We can go back to the original offer. That's fine. But I'm going to be full disclosure with you, Mrs. Seller. Our buyers don't particularly like that kind of setup, and here's why. And then you explain to them that a lot of times people will get into these setups, and you, as the owner, Mrs. Seller, if the our investor, sends you a monthly payment, assuming that you're covering the mortgage, and for whatever reason you don't, not only does my investor lose out on the money that they gave you, but they also lose the property because the bank will take it away. That's why I gave you the offer where I will connect my buyer's bank account to your mortgage account so the money can be drafted out every single month directly from my buyer's bank account. That way, you know, you have peace of mind. The mortgage is being paid. My buyer knows the mortgage is being paid. It's coming out of their account. And then we'll give you the money that you would have just pocketed if we did it the first way. We'll just give you that separately. That's all. That's the difference between what she wants and what we're offering. Now, again, you can, if she's like, oh, I'm just more comfortable if I pay the mortgage myself. Okay. But just full disclosure, your property's been on market for a long time already. This is going to make it way more unattractive to my investors than if we did it the way that I propose. So I will push it out your way, and then I'll bring you feedback and let you know what they say. How about that? Now you're still
That is
sitting there, nothing.
perfect.
It's like a pre-close, soft close.
That's amazing. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. Hey, thank you.
No problem. But was that your only objection?
Yes, and that was
All right.
very well said.
Yeah, I know. I said it.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Leo's laughing. Leo, you don't come on the trend. Oh, your mic is working now, dude. You should start. Well, you don't have any questions. You've graduated. Let's see. Who's next? Darren. And then Ken, I'll get to you.
My question is like, if it's a turnkey, right, and it's like fully renovated, like it's a beautiful house, you still have to, like, let's say if you was offering all cash, you still have to do 60%, or like cause let's say they
It's
agreed
on market.
yeah, because let's say they agreed to like $100,000 off. Would that still not be attractive to a buyer or not?
That depends. What was the original purchase price $1 million?
About.
Then no, that's not going to matter to an investor at all. Because here's the thing, investors have no problem, most of the time, have no problem paying us an assignment fee of 10, 15, 20, or whatever, because they don't care, because we don't tell them, we don't advertise that to them anyway. The reason why they're okay with doing that is because we bring them deals that they cannot go get themselves. Anybody, almost anybody, can call a homeowner that has their property listed for over $1 million and say, hey, look, I'll give you 900. Anyone could do that. So what incentive do they have to give you the assignment fee when they can just be like, oh, 900 and it's on market for $1 million? I'll call the realtor. Hey, yeah, you got it under contract right now for 900. I'll give you 905. What do you think the realtor's going to say? Oh, yeah, we'll take that because it's a higher offer. Then they're going to go back to you and say, hey, we were just offered 905. Can you match that? You're going to say no, because that's a game you do not want to get into, and you're going to lose the deal anyway. So that's why we have to get it for such a deep discount. We have to get it for a price that the investors cannot get it for. That's why they pay us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It was a hypothetical, by the way.
No, that's all good. I mean, I know how you expensive taste. I say on the last two properties you had me look at, you're expensive ass. Kent, what's up?
What's up, man? So I sent you an address on DM on
Discord.
Yeah, and that second address was the original address I typed in, and then I typed I wanted to look at it on two different sites, right? Redfin and Zillow, and the Redfin address, the same address, you know, when you look at it, it comes up as like selling it as like a duplex, but the the Zillow one is showing it as like one property. Would you? I mean, I haven't talked to the realtor yet. I'm gonna give her a call and try to figure that out.
That's
I guess
the first thing that I would do.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you have to, if it's a single family, then you can go by DealSniper's estimated rent. If it's a duplex, then you have to run the rent yourself, because DealSniper can't differentiate between single and multifamilies yet.
And also
almost done, but not yet.
Okay, and yeah, that second, or the second property that has a duplex, the first floor is like rated. It's got a zone for C1, like a commercial, like I think it was a restaurant or something on that first floor. So would that raise the property, like increase the value of a property, or?
It really depends, because now it actually makes it harder for you to sell that type of deal. And here's why. And Leo can actually attest to this, because we had one like this for him in Chicago, right? Leo was in Milwaukee. No, don't tell me the address. Don't tell me. It was started with an M, right? It was in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, it was a storefront on the bottom, and it was apartments on the top. And Leo is phenomenal at what he does and got it for exactly the number that I told him to get it for. And we still couldn't move it because on the disposition side, you have to think about, who am I selling this to? Can I sell it to damn near any investor, or do I need to find a very specific investor? So if you've got a two-tone property like that, where it's one thing commercial on the bottom and then residential on the top, you're going to have to find a very specific local investor that has something specific they want to do with that bottom commercial area, and then also a plan for the top area.
Right.
I'm not saying you can't move it. You can move it.
Right.
It's going to be hard to find that specific buyer. So
Okay.
because of that, make sure you get it for a really good deal.
I see. And the other question I had is, do you know how the purchase price is actually like calculated on DealSniper? Like the actual, like, is it scraped in from like Zillow and does a calculate like a some math off of Zillow's numbers, or is
No, it's scraping data from a lot of different places. And it's scraping data from county websites. It's scraping data from scraping websites. It's scraping data from Zillow, Realtor, Redfin. So
Okay.
it's scraping data from everywhere.
But do we know the actual purchase price calculation, or is that something easy? You just, it's just gonna.
I can. We did a rough estimate of that like 10 minutes ago, where I was figuring out the
okay.
difference between the. Yeah, that's how you do that.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what you would do. And use the deal machine calculator for that. Don't use DealSniper, because again, it doesn't know how to do commercial like lease either.
Okay.
If you said this used to be a restaurant, so that means this property is going to have, based off the neighborhood it's in, it's going to have a certain price per square foot that it can be leased out at due to what it's zoned as.
Yeah.
So this, you have to figure out how much can this property on the bottom rent for every single month as a functioning restaurant.
Right. You got to get the numbers. Okay.
Yeah, that's where you have to start. And then you can do the normal process for whatever, however many units are above.
Right.
And then you kind of figure out together what your offer should be, and then what it'll sell for, what it'll cash flow as. And then that's assuming someone keeps a restaurant in it.
Yeah.
Depending
But
on how it's zoned in the area, you could put almost anything in there, and then there's no way to really calculate that number, which means you have to find a specific buyer who already knows what they want to do with that space and just wants to buy it from you.
And if it was just a regular duplex, the deal machine can't really do that yet. You can't just do
DealSniper can't do that yet. Deal machine can't.
So how? Oh, it can.
Deal machine, yeah. Deal machine, you can underwrite anything on deal machine.
So what do you just combine the like beds?
If
as
it's
well?
if it's a here, I'll show you. So if
Yeah.
it's, let's say it's a duplex, right?
Yeah.
So what do you need for a seller finance deal? You need the purchase price. Well, you'll have that. You need the seller finance amount and the down payment. You're going to figure that part out. That's on you.
Yeah.
Your assignment fee, obviously. Your rent, I just told you how to figure that out. But let's say it's a duplex and it's just, a top and bottom unit. You're going to figure out what the top unit rents for. You're going to figure out what the bottom unit rents for. You're going to add them together, and that's what you're going to put right there. That's the rent.
Okay.
The taxes and the insurance are going to be the same. It's not going to be any more or less because both units are in one building. So that one house or that one structure is going to have one tax and one insurance bill due every year. So that doesn't change. The only thing that you need to do outside of DealSniper for a multifamily is just figure out what each unit rents for separately, add them together, and put it for the LTR potential rent. Everything else is the same.
And short-term rent would be same
Off of Air DNA. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
No problem. Let's see. Who's next? I think Morgan, let me go back to that screen. Yeah, Morgan, what's up? You're muted. No? Okay, we'll come back to you. Amber, what's up?
Okay, so you just gave me an idea. Well, another question, but when it comes to the overall purchase price that we get off of DealSniper, if you're thinking about an interest rate, like if somebody were to ask for an interest rate, a seller, technically, and the whole purpose is to offer that money up front, and that's why the purchase price is obviously like bigger than what they're asking their listed price.
Right.
That is the reason why we can say, okay, here is 0% interest if they were to ask. But what is that percentage range, I guess? Let's say they're asking 235, it's listed. So DealSniper gives you maybe around 256 as a purchase price. The
Okay.
listing is 235, of course. This is an example off the top of my head, so bear with me.
Yep.
What interest rate would that be, if that makes sense? So generally speaking, it's set at 0. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, like if I were to break down those numbers, what would that difference be in a sense? Is it usually about 10% off rip, or is it 3% that they're getting as that lump sum, like once the balloon pops? Or I freaking hope I'm asking this right. Like, I hope it makes sense, because I feel like you know what I'm talking about, because you understood my last question. I just suck at asking questions.
All right, try it one more time.
Okay.
What do you need to know?
I guess what I need to know, what I would like to know, because it's just for my peace of mind.
Sure.
What would that difference be in a sense?
The difference between what?
The purchase price that we give them and their listing price. I don't have set numbers because this isn't a real example, but yeah, like where does that number come from? Like
so in the background of, now I don't know, look, I'm going to give you the boomer answer. In the background of you didn't have to agree so quickly that I was a boomer, by the way. But anyway, in the background of DealSniper, it's basically doing the math for you based off of, the only thing I can't remember is what interest rate we based it off of. I don't remember if we based it off of prime, which would be today, the current daily interest rate, or if we put a cap on it, because that was months and months and months and months ago. However, let me see. Here's the formula I came up with to calculate the purchase price for creative offers based off of what you said earlier. I mean, VG put the formula in the chat. Seller finance purchase price equals monthly payment for 5% interest amortization minus monthly payment, and for 0% interest amortization times amortization divided by purchase price from the Zillow or Redfin number. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it looks right.
Wow, that is all right, VG. That's my dog too, by the way. But okay, I'll try to plug in based on the formula she posted, because what?
But here's the other thing. Are you talking on or off market?
On market.
Oh yeah. Well then wait a minute. If it's on market, why aren't you using the DealSniper numbers? Or you just wanted to know how to come up with it? I see.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Kent had a question. What if they wanted a 3% interest? Can you just put the interest? Okay, so here's how that works. That's a good question too. I've been getting that a lot lately.
Okay, cool.
So if you go to the calculator, I'll use this deal for example. So this deal is completely put in. No, let me put in fake taxes and insurance really quick. Okay. And then we'll do that at 500. Cool. Okay. So let's say this is the whole deal, right? We put the taxes in, we put the insurance in, we put the monthly payment that DealSniper says, we got everything in, right? Actually, shit. Let me change this too. Sorry, Mom. We'll do 200, we'll do 225 just to keep it easy. And that would be a $10,000 down and $10,000 assignment. And then we'll change this to 2,000. Now I'm just putting these numbers in. I'm just making them up for the example. Okay. So let's say this was our deal, right? We put all our numbers in. Everything's good. We see that at $500 a month, we need to change that. Okay. So we see at $800 a month, the DealSniper told us, just for this example, we're getting a 29.13 cash on cash return. Now let's say the real estate agent or the seller, I want 3% interest. Well, here's what you do. You put 3% right here for interest rate. It's going to change your monthly payment. Boom, $948. So now we go over here, and that's our new payment, $948. And then we look at our cash on cash return. In this situation, we could absolutely do 3% on this deal. We can give 3%. We've got a low entry fee percentage. We've got a very high cash on cash return. This deal would work. Now, let's say they said, we want, what's one that I saw? 10% interest. Okay. So now we take that's our new payment, $1974. Let's put that in here. I mean, obviously, we all know it's not going to work. But now you see that the deal does not work. So that's when you show the real estate agent or the seller this picture right here and say, look, our buyers are trying to cash flow. You take this little screen, don't do all of it because, first of all, they don't need all of it. And second of all, this is going to show assignment fees and things like that. So you send them this screenshot and say, look, I really want to work with you. I get it. This is unconventional and I want to make the deal work. But I'm trying to move this to an investor who's looking to have it as a rental or as a buy and hold, however terminology you want to use. And as you can see, if my investor buys this property at your terms, they will be losing $6,835 a year.
It's not showing a 10% that you added that though, right?
What do you mean?
Like you're saying if I added 10%, this is what it looks like, but it doesn't show 10% on that screenshot. If you were are you saying to add the over?
No, I'm literally saying, and I understand what you're saying. It doesn't say that we added 10%. That's why I added when I just said using your terms.
Yeah, right. 10%. You gotta, I guess they gotta trust you, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or believe you, yeah.
So you send them a screenshot of this right here and you say, look, I want to work with you, but how am I supposed to sell this to an investor?
Mm-hmm.
So can we work on something else? And then you don't just send this and you say how, just leave it on a question. Then you offer an alternative. So they wanted 10%. So let's put in $1,207. So now let's put that over here. 1207. That's better. So now you could realistically say, hey, 10% absolutely doesn't work. You send them the screenshot and say, but look, here's 5%.
Cool.
Can you get your seller to take 5%? Now, I wouldn't say that because the cash on cash return is too low, but 4%. Hey, here's my numbers on 4%. If your seller can take 4%, then I think we're good to go. If not, then we're just going to have to move on and the property is just going to stay on market. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, you can absolutely do 4%. Okay, cool. Amber, did you have another question or is your hand still up?
No, sorry.
No, it's all good. Okay, cool. And then I think that is everyone. Cool. I'm going to let you guys go then. You guys have a great night. This recording will be posted in the YouTube channel tomorrow, and then I'll put the link in the main chat. Otherwise, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Thanks.